All right. Good morning again. Welcome back to the 43rd Ryder Cup here at Whistling Straits. We are joined by Patrick Cantlay. Patrick, welcome to what is your first Ryder Cup. Amazingly consistent year, especially the back half of it, actually the whole thing. But I think we've got 15 straight rounds in the 60s. What's been the key ingredient for you to have this consistency and be at peak form or really near peak form for so long?
Yeah, I think I've played well. I've played really well this summer, and I think it's weird because my prep and my process have been pretty similar all year, but the results really have started to show the last little stretch. And being here today, that's a good stretch to play some of the best golf of the year. That being said, this week is a totally different week than an individual tournament, and I'm really excited to get that going because I'm sure it will be an experience unlike any other, and the only thing close I've had is President's Cup and Walker Cup.
Okay, let's hit the floor for some questions for Patrick. Start over with Doug.
Given it's a different week, which we all know, how does that become different for you as a golfer? As it relates to your game is what I'm getting at, I guess. Yeah.
I think process stays the same. I'm still trying to learn the golf course and prep as best I can and play the best possible golf I can. But priorities obviously are different. I could go 0-4 this week, and if the U.S. team wins, it's a raving success, and I'll be elated. And I could go 4-0 this week, and if the team loses, it will be a bad week. And so that's just so different than a regular golf week, and that's what makes it so special. Is that you're playing for something bigger than just yourself.
If I could follow, John, kind of to your point of what you talked about in the last month or so of staying in the present. How hard is it to stay in the present when you got all this stuff going on around you and different matches and momentum and scoreboards and all that stuff?
Definitely more difficult, I would say. And I think in a weird way, almost you just have to let yourself experience all that, because if I see somebody in a match that's ahead of me or behind me, a guy in front of me make a putt, like I'm going to be pumped up. It's going to be excited because I have an invested stake in what's going on up there, and it's something larger than me. And so that's different than most of the golf that I've played my whole life. And so I think maybe in this one case, accepting that reality opposed to trying to fight it off is probably more helpful, because I won't be able to avoid it. And so embracing that part of this week, I think is great. And I think that's why people are so excited to watch this tournament.
All right, we're going to shoot over to Juan Guillen front. That's your right.
So Patrick, maybe it's the same thing. No? So you are a person who has his own philosophy of life, philosophy of golf, very distinctive. So how do you adapt that to the team experience, for a whole week? And what parts do you enjoy more and what parts you don't enjoy that much?
I think bonding with the guys is really cool, and having them on your side. I think golf misses that so much because we're all individuals and we almost bond with our own team unit. We'll travel with our teams, and so that's where that bonding takes place on a regular week. And this week, it's I'm having dinner with DJ or Daniel Berger or whatever it would be, and having those guys on your side for a common goal lets everybody's guard down a little bit, and so I think they can be more of themselves with less protectiveness. Like, I don't want you to know what I'm thinking or know my insecurities or whatever it would be. And so this week is great for just seeing those people with their guard down, because we see them all the time, but we don't necessarily have a real conversation with them or say, how are you feeling, or how's your family, or whatever it would be, because we're all so busy doing our own things. And that's what I noticed in President's Cup. And really, one of the best things personally for me about President's Cup, other than the golf, was just being able to be forced to spend time with Xander, and he's become one of my best friends through that experience. If we were at a regular tournament, there's no way I would have spent the time or gone out of my way to invest in a relationship with one of the other guys that I was playing against. But now that he's on my team, and it might help me in my golf to get along with this guy, I realized that I really liked him as a person, and we've become great friends. So that would be probably the best thing about weeks like this.
So do you feel things get more real in a Ryder Cup, and you like that? Well,
Not sure. Not sure. More real. I think you see what people are like with their guard down, so they act more real when they feel like they're in that safe team room environment. Because a normal week, I imagine, and this is just maybe through my own self-experiences, I'm going to block everyone out except my team, right? That's a very human thing to do. This week, your team is a much larger unit, and it includes DJ, and it includes Colin Morikawa. But like on a normal week, I'm like blocking those guys out. Don't give them my stuff. And this week, I have my guard down. We're in the team room, and we can all be ourselves because they're part of our team. It's a human thing. And so seeing guys like that who don't have a lot of experience being with on a real level, they're more real with me because we're all on the same team.
All right, Jeff, on your left, number 19.
Patrick, Foursomes is a game you're not going to play a lot as an American, I wouldn't think.
How much foursomes do you play?
Once. Played it once.
Right, okay.
Just wondering what you find the most challenging of the format, and where you and Xander went 2-0 in Australia in that format, what worked so well with you two?
I was talking about the other night, there's a weird thing about foursomes in that you only hit half the shots. So personally, it feels like every shot you hit is more important because it is. Usually you would be hitting double the shots. So personally, it would feel like, every shot I hit is 2 times what it's normally worth for the outcome of that match compared to singles. And so, and best ball, in a weird way, it's less. It could be half, or it could be even less than half of a singles match. And so I think that pressure or that feeling, while I haven't heard it expressed in that way, is a real thing that people feel, which makes them feel uncomfortable in foursomes. I think you saw it with Sevi and Olazabal. I guarantee you they didn't say sorry for hitting a bad shot, right? Because they're such good friends and they had done it so many times. So I think foursomes is a lot more emotional in that way, and the fact that Xander and I are really good friends, and so I know he's trying as hard as he possibly can, and if he hits a bad shot, that's golf. And so because it's so much more emotional, I think, and the pressure really is more in that format, it really helps to gel with your partner.
We're going to go across the way, Bob, 8.
Patrick, when you said earlier about if you went 0-4 and the team won, you'd still be happy. Just
Elated.
the fact that you referenced 0-4 and 4-0, does that mean you're not going to play 5 times, or was that just?
That's very arbitrary. I could play 0. I could play 1 time. I could play 5 times. Whatever Strick wants, and I am here to do the best I can and contribute in the best way possible. But I don't know what the slated plan is.
Did Australia take away any of the angst you might have felt if this was the first time you had ever done this in a team setting?
Maybe, but I wouldn't know.
Format, it's the same style. Obviously, it's a little different, the President's Cup, but
I assume it's a very good experience for something like this. But from what I've heard from everybody, the experience this week is like the President's Cup on steroids, and so I'm expecting that.
We're going to go back right, number 9.
Hi, Patrick. I just wondered if you could tell me what it means to you to represent your country.
Well, I think that's the whole point, and I think that's one of the best parts of this is that I know, for the most part, if someone's a USA fan, if someone really doesn't like me, they're still rooting for me to win my match. And so that's like one of the best parts about this format, this team golf, this event. And consequently, someone on the other side of the pond may like me, and they are rooting so hard against me. So it it makes the stakes feel much larger. And I mean, that playing on the biggest stages in golf is exactly why I've prepped and practiced my whole life. And it's one of the great joys I have in my life, and it's what I look forward to. And so when you can get everyone amped up and make it feel like it really matters, I mean, that's the best. So it's an honor to represent the United States, and hopefully we can give all the fans something to cheer for.
Are you a patriotic person?
For sure. I think there's something really cool about America and about the United States where you could be from anywhere and you could be anyone, and there's an underlying feeling of we're still all Americans, and we may disagree about this, that, or the other, but we're all American, and we're all patriots, and we all want the best for this country. And so being just a small part of that is an honor, and I'm very excited to represent the country because I do have a sense of that at the end of the day, I could disagree with someone on almost everything, but we still want what's the best for our country, and I think that's an amazing thing about being an American.
Going straight back here, Alex 2-3.
Patrick, the adrenaline of someone playing well that's your partner, or the adrenaline that you have when you hit a nice shot, are they the same?
Sorry, can you ask that again?
Yeah. The adrenaline that you feel when your partner hits a good shot or does something good versus the adrenaline you have when you hit a good shot, are they the same?
No, but yes. I mean, I feel just as invested, or darn near just as invested, on Xander's shots in a foursomes match, and I'm just thinking about how I was in President's Cup compared to when I'm hitting a shot. And yet, maybe not, just a little less, because I can't control it. And so, but it still feels like my ball that's flying through the air because I know I got to hit it next.
And then also on the foursome side, do you feel like it's more important if you play with somebody that you know well or as a friend versus someone that's completely out of left field that you didn't even think you'd play with and you don't really know?
Yeah, I think it's very helpful to know your partner in that format, especially. Less so in best ball. But for the comments I made earlier, I think it definitely helps to gel with your partner because that format feels more emotional. And so when you are playing and you hit a bad shot, you don't want any sense of, oh, I wonder what my playing partner is thinking about the terrible shot I just hit, because inevitably someone's going to hit a bad shot. If you're realistic about it, you know that going in, and it's no big deal.
I'm going to go to Ron in the front right.
How would you describe Steve Stricker's style as a captain? And is there an element of it that stands out or something he's done maybe particularly for you that sort of embodies it?
I think he is excellent at being a workman-type leader, and so instantly he's someone that you respect because he's going to put in the work to help prepare the team as best as possible. And really, that's all you can want out of a captain. He's 100% invested, and he's not a rah, big ego guy. And I think that's something that the guys on the team instantly respect, in that he knows the most important thing he can do is setting up the 12 guys he has on his team for success. And so he doesn't make it about him. And, you know, to have a leader like that who really wants the best for the team is something, like I said, you can respect and admire. And so getting to know him a little more through this process has only made me admire and respect him more. I think he's doing a great job.
2 questions. They've got to be quick. We're going to start with Adam.
What clicked at the President's Cup with you and Xander? Can you pinpoint when you felt like we're going to be real good friends, and a little bit on the celebration in Napa?
So I don't think either of us would have gone out of their way to be friends with each other. But then spending that time together, we realized that we really got along with each other. I think he's incredibly smart, and I think he's incredibly conscientious. And so he is someone that probably brings out the best in me. He's more positive, and he has a way of being more light opposed to me being serious. And yet he's very quiet and reserved, and so we kind of had that bond. And yet he balances me out a little bit. And so, taking like the trip to Napa was very natural. It was like, I'd really like to spend time with Xander and Maya. And so that's kind of just how that came about. I also feel like with as heavily invested I get into golf and as focused as I get, it's really helpful for me to have things that I look forward to. And so before the stretch of the playoffs where I knew I was going to be playing lots of golf tournaments and be on the road for a number of weeks, I thought, man, I need something to look forward to, and asked if he wanted to go to Napa, and he said that sounded great, and we had an unbelievable time.
All right, last one here, Doug, 21.
21. I would ask you this just as an observer and a relatively knowledgeable golfer. Why do you think Europe keeps winning this thing?
So I've read a few gin books, and how would I? Let's see if I can get it right. If you play enough gin hands, a 1 or 2% difference in skill translates to almost an assured win over many, many, many hands of gin. But you could have a big difference between somebody, maybe a 60 to 40% skill level difference, and gin is still chancy enough to where you could play 10 hands and lose 6 or 7 of the hands against someone that's much worse than you skill-wise. And so there's only these matches are only played every 2 years, and golf is very chancy. And so would it surprise you if the U.S. went on a similar run to what Europe's been on for the next 20 years? Wouldn't surprise me. I mean, you go to Vegas and you play roulette, and the chances are 50-50, but skewed toward the house a little bit. It could hit red 6 times in a row, right? But that's not abnormal. You flip a quarter. It would be weird if the quarter flipped tails, heads, tails, heads, tails, heads. Then you'd think something trippy was going on. So I try to take a very long-term view on things like that. Who knows? The captains are different every year. The players are different every year. The venues are different every year. The weather's different every year. You're really going to ask a question like that and think you're going to get the right answer? I don't have the answers to that. This is my first one.
Took a long time giving that non-answer, but it was good.
I'm getting better at that.
I got you as the best interview of the week. Thank you, Patrick. Have a terrific stay and play well. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.